Ah, here we go.
Oh, here it goes.
Hi everyone. I'm a big fan of the r/Tales of Neckbeard subreddit. Well, you're in good company, aren't you? This is my daily enjoyment, either reading the stories here or listening to them on ReddX. I put this post on the site, but then I was listening to ReddX, who reminded me that there is an actual ReddX subreddit, and I thought that I would amuse you as well. Well, I do appreciate that. I've been pretty shameless with the plugs about my subreddit. I should probably slow it down because we've got so many stories coming in that I need to get through. Anyways, it's my first time posting, and English is not my first language, so I'm sorry if I make some spelling or formatting errors. Also, sorry for the long post. Never apologize. We're gonna fix it in editing. Don't you worry. TLDR, which usually goes at the end, but we're rolling with it. 33-year-old neckbeard waits until my boyfriend goes downstairs, corners me in his anime room, and pressures me, a 16-year-old, into a hug before he allows me to leave. Oh god, major creep vibes in this one. What the hell? What's an anime room? I guess there's more questions that need answering than just that. Anyways, the cast. OP, a very, very young-looking 16-year-old. Boyfriend, not really very relevant to the story, but he did introduce me to Neckbeard. Oh boy, birds of a feather. You gotta watch that guy. Neckbeard, the 33-year-old neckbeard that ran the game shop in the basement of my country's version of Blockbuster. Bro, your country still has Blockbusters? What? I'm gonna head on over. I'm gonna rent Titanic for the 5th time. Probably rent Titanic for my wife and Braveheart for me, and then that's the whole day spent. Thank you, Blockbuster. But I digress. Okay, so first of all, let me give you some information about myself. At the moment, I'm a 28-year-old woman. However, apparently I look anywhere between 15 and 19, depending on who you ask. I'm 5 feet tall, with ever-changing hair and skin that glows in the dark. I am, and always have been, neckbeard bait. Although this will be my first post, if there's any interest in my posts, I'll tell you more tales of horror for your enjoyment. Oh, you already know the answer to that one. Always looking forward to more. Now to set the scene. At the time of this story, I was a 16-year-old girl, but given the fact that I only look that age now more than 10 years later, you can imagine just how childish I looked when I was actually 16. Usually people thought me to be anywhere between 10 and 13, which makes this story even creepier. I'd fallen into the weeb trap. And to this day, I am so very happy that Facebook wasn't a thing back then. Oh, preach. I embarrassed myself on like Zanga and MySpace, but those all went poof. And thank God that they did, because OP was the living embodiment of an anime girl. I mean, the hair clips, the schoolgirl outfit, and yes, sometimes the cat ears. Luckily for me, there is no photographic evidence of this dark anime kawaii shit show that was my behavior and appearance at the time. However, I found myself a boyfriend that didn't mind me looking so young, and didn't give them the feeling that they were a pedo. Something a former boyfriend actually said to me. Oh, this is such a mess already, dude. Oh, God. My boyfriend at the time was 3 years older than me and very autistic. He had one friend, the game shop neckbeard. I mean, this was over a decade ago, so I assume that you're not still with this guy now, right? Because there's quite possibly a reason that he didn't mind you looking so young, right? Am I alone in this? Oh, God. I can't think about it too much. I'd seen him a few times before when I went to the store to buy some games with my sibling, and that guy had always given me the creeps. Neckbeard was very tall, thin, balding, like Nosferatu looking dude. His skin added to his vampiric look. The sun had obviously never once laid its rays on his fair, gray skin. And this coming from a girl that gets a 2nd-degree burn in the shade. He also smelled like he slept in a coffin, in a graveyard. that was built on a waste disposal site, which was flooded with sewage. Yeah, that poopy smell. You want to buy games from the poopy man? The shop was in a literal basement, and girls really were a rarity, which isn't surprising. Anytime I dared venture into this den of sweat, misery, and steel, I was either followed by random people that wanted to see what I was going to buy, quizzed on the knowledge of the game that I was holding because girls don't play games, or guided to the cutesy girl games in the corner by the employees. Safe to say, I did not go there very often. And the reason for that is pretty obvious. I don't understand why it's so hard for beards to treat a lady like a person. You know, person first, lady second. It's not that hard. Anyways, on to the actual meat of the story. Boyfriend had invited me to come with him to his friend's house. I stupidly agreed to this and went into the den of the beard. Honestly, the downstairs of this wannabe Edward Cullen was pristine. It did have the mandatory pair of katanas on the wall, and every possible game console in existence plugged into a teeny tiny TV, but honestly, it was pretty cool. We played some Scott Pilgrim, talked about games, and had a really nice time. He did keep staring at me, but I thought maybe he was just pretty socially awkward. Eventually, he decided to give me the tour of the upstairs rooms. He had a tiny bedroom which was covered in anime posters and figurines, and I really do mean covered. They were everywhere. On the walls, the floors, his bed sheets, and all of them were lollies. Oh God. From bad, just nosedive directly into worse. Right next to his bedroom, he had a much larger room, which was filled top to bottom with manga and anime. I was in heaven, and was way too naive to see anything wrong with the amount of lolly manga, posters, and figurines. I was an innocent, wee little child. Boyfriend had gone downstairs by then, not really being interested in manga in the least, and I was left alone with this Walking Dead-looking garbage bag. And this is about the point where I start to wonder why the boyfriend is even friends with this dude in the first place. I guess they connect on video games more than like the manga and anime thing. Anyways, this was the first time I began to feel uncomfortable. While I was eagerly looking through the mangas, he kept getting closer and closer, asking me about my likes and dislikes. How long have my boyfriend and I been together? What kind of games did I play? Would I cosplay or this or that character? When he got too close, I put the manga back on the shelf and walked directly to the door. He got there before me, though, and blocked the exit. See, it's about this moment where I am extremely glad that the TLDR was at the beginning, and I know that it doesn't get too bad. Otherwise, I would be freaking out at this point in the story. Like, what the actual hell? It is bad, but thank God it does not get completely terrible. He asked me what I was doing with a Chad, like my boyfriend, who was a triathlete, and I said I needed someone who understood me. He didn't actually use the word Chad. None of us were even speaking English, as a matter of fact. This was all in my language, of course, but it had basically the same meaning. When I didn't respond to his question and just asked him to move, he said he'd only let me go if I gave him a hug. Hug the sewer vampire. Oh, God. This 33-year-old, over 6-foot tall man was blocking my way out. Boyfriend was nowhere in sight, and I was scared. So I did what the neckbeard asked. I gave him a quick hug and took the opportunity to turn him while hugging so I could quickly get out. That is a big brain move right there. That one little trick could have saved you from something far worse, man. I left feeling uncomfortable, but also guilty, because boyfriend had told me he was just a lonely, very nice guy. Nice guy indeed. So I must have just been overreacting, right? I wasn't. I was going to tell the entire story in one go, but this is getting long, so I'll leave it at that for now. If there's interest in the sequel, I'll post a part 2. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk and listening to my ramblings. Well, I'm definitely eager to see the fallout of this one, so yeah, part 2 is up. Let's jump right into it. Go for it. The Tale of Game Shop Beard, Part 2, The Creeping. Hey everyone, it's me again. I had a few responses to my post, which was more than incentive enough for me to continue the story of creepiness and slight annoyance. I guess I could see slight annoyance in the moment, but oh my god, looking back, I would be completely horrified. This is such a bad situation. I know my story may not be as dark, thank god, or as substantial as some of the ones posted on here, but it does have some good cringe. And isn't that why we are all here? Oh, OP gets me. It's not even necessarily 100% about the neckbeard cringe. Just any way that I can get my cringe brings me a lot of joy. Although this past month has been just solid beards the entire time. I'll mix some other stuff in next month. Anyways, I have some stories of a beard I work with at the moment who is more than just cringe, and who my female colleagues and I have been trying to get fired for over 3 years now. Oh, tut, we'll get into that one eventually. But given the fact that women have been trying for over 30 years, I'm afraid it probably won't come to much. I have so many stories about this serial creep, from him blocking me into a corner and pulling his pants down. What? Holy God. Well, at least I know what I'm getting into again. To him asking a colleague of mine if a 12-year-old son masturbated. Oh my God. At a certain point, getting fired is nowhere near enough. I bet we could crowdfund something nice, you know, get a little pot together, hand it over to a mysterious stranger just to make sure that this guy has an unfortunate accident. Because that is bad. Not the worst I've seen, but definitely bordering on the worst. Holy God. If there's any interest in this neckbeard cringe, I will most indubitably oblige. And the posts are up, and now I'm fucking terrified to read them. I'm sure we'll get into it at some point. Jesus. Anywho, on to the story. The cast list. Our OP, a 16-year-old girl who looks like a 12-year-old girl that fell into a tub of manga and anime. We've got Game Shop Beard, the 33-year-old creep who was the slight annoyance of my existence. 6 feet tall, extremely thin, balding, and generally looked like a reject from the Walking Dead zombie cast. I forgot to mention this in the last story, but this mummy had a very thin face, but with a weirdly shaped big skull, which made his balding even more prominent, like a giant mushroom with some pubic hair attached to the top. That paints a picture. Leathery skin that the sun doth not dare look upon, and a scent that made a garbage dump blush. Lolly extraordinaire. Technically, the little cartoon girls they chases around, them's are the lollies. He would be a lolicon, which I think is for like lolly consumer or something like that. Probably said lolly too much. This video is gonna get demonetized. Well, we fucked it up. Oh, I said the F word now. God damn it. All right, hold it back. Just a little left to go. So we left off last time with me leaving the house feeling uncomfortable, but also feeling like I was maybe making a big deal out of nothing. A lot of people in the comments asked me why I didn't report him or tell anyone, and the response to that is a less than happy answer. Starting in middle school, I was bullied. A lot. When I was 12, people thought I was like 7 to 9 years old. I was very small, very nerdy with big glasses and interests that my classmates didn't have. See, I went to a very free-spirited school where they focused on nature and everything natural, and I was a computer geek. I was one of 2 people in a class of 30 that had a computer. This was in the early 2000s, not 1990, but hey, I just didn't fit in. and they did not let me forget it. So much for that whole free spirit thing, right? We just want you to be yourself as long as you're being yourself like everyone else around you. Okay then. I have psychological and physical scars from this time. By the time I was 15, I had created a shell that kept the bullies at a distance. I went full anime girl. They might have found me annoying and weird, but with my loud, obnoxious attitude and clothes, at least they left me alone. Huh. Somebody get the Beardonomicon out. We need to add this information to the Legbeard entries. Fascinating stuff. The anime culture also brought friends. For the first time since elementary, I had people who actually liked me. Were they cringy and socially awkward? Absolutely. Was I? Definitely. So when this man cornered me and demanded a hug, I just did it. I was terrified of having people not like me, so I just didn't say no. The day after I left, I got a text on my phone from him. Ah, here we go. That's a can of worms that you can't put the monkeys back in. Or something like that. He had asked my boyfriend for my number, and my boyfriend just gave it to him. For the love of picture. So Beard sent me text after text after text, telling me, "Good morning, good night, my lady." Yes, I actually got my ladies almost daily, asking me what I'm doing, sending me names of animes, asking what I would cosplay. And of course, as the hooks were sunk deeper in, his messages became more personal. Personal information about him and his feelings. He often told me how connected he felt to me, how I was the only one that understood him. He told me I was the only one that kept him from killing himself, and very often told me that he wanted to call me. Chasing around underage girls, suicide baiting, oh boy, what a keeper. I really do hope he has an unfortunate accident. I'm not gonna finance it, but I will hope for it. This went on and on and on. I never did call him. I knew how to say no at least a little bit. But I was worried for him, and I was scared that if I stopped replying, he might actually hurt himself. Oy. My boyfriend and I broke up a little while after. Now, quick reminder that Beard and boyfriend were best friends. So this lolly-loving, sewage-breathing corpse had been texting and very much flirting/grooming his best friend's girlfriend. I don't even have the words for that, man. What the hell? That's the words I choose. So the day after me and my boyfriend broke up, Neckbeard sent me a message. He told me he had never met someone like me, and that I was an amazing person, blah, 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 etc. And that he wanted to take me to a Japanese restaurant. Little naive me did not see anything wrong with that. Just friends eating, right? It didn't occur to me that he was asking me on a date. Luckily for me, however, I got this message when I was with my mom, and when I told her about the text, the alarm bells that seemed to be lacking in my own head went off in hers. She honestly had to explain to me why this was inappropriate and why I should definitely decline. So I did. I sent him a message explaining that though I was flattered, I felt our 17-year age difference was an issue for me. And I didn't feel comfortable meeting him. This Nosferatu incarnate went from neckbeard to full nice guy in 0.2 seconds, as we would expect. I'm not gonna knock age gap relationships too hard, because I've caught some flack for that in the past. I know that it ain't for me, personally, but there are some other people out there that make it work, so heh. The difference here is that OP is underage, so what the hell, stay away. Like, we know full well his motivations just from having his room described to us, right? God, what a creep. He responded by saying, he just asked me out as a friend. That he just thought we were both Japan lovers and wanted to hang out with me. He now realized, however, that
I was a self-involved bitch that thought the world lay at my feet, and that I didn't deserve his friendship. He was too good for me, and I was just like every other vag in his life. No one ever gave him the time of day, and women only wanted jacked guys. He hoped I lived a miserable life, etc., etc., etc.
Oh, how are they all cut from the same cloth, man? It always goes the same way, and it it has a magical quality about it that just makes it never get old to me. I love to see the devolution every single time. Perfect. After this glorious tirade, he blocked my number so I couldn't respond. I was too afraid to see him face to face again, so I just let my sibling do the buying for me at the game shop for a few years after that. I did go back some years later when I finally developed a spine and cared less about what people thought about me. That's right, wipe your butt with that social contract. Who cares? Most neckbeards are way too awkward to say any of this shit in person anyways. If he was working there, he just long-legged it to the back of the store. See? Hiding behind the employee door until I left. Now and then I would see his giant head stick out through the door opening, and then quickly disappear again after he saw that, oh, I wasn't gone yet. I've since moved, and I haven't been back there in a few years, but now and then, I do wonder if he ever found the Japanese lolly of his dreams. I truly, from the bottom of my heart, hope that he hasn't. Yeah, you and me both. TLDR, Neckbeard asked me out one day after I break up with his best friend, goes full nice guy after I say no. Hope you guys enjoyed this story. Please give me some feedback on my writing style. English isn't my first language. Also, if you guys are interested in hearing the tales of my neckbeard colleague, please let me know. Thank you for indulging me, and until next time, maybe. The sympathetic part of me does want to feel bad for him and hope that he finds somebody to complete him, but the truth is, the rational part of my brain says he can't even complete himself. So how is he going to have a two-way relationship where he completes another person? Also, he's a predatory piece of trash. Yes, I hope he dies alone, and I don't feel bad saying it. Katana Beard offered me private lessons / drill practice. Beards of the Round Table. Oh, so valiant are they. Gather round, ye lads and lasses, and hear the tales of the Lady Starship Spectre and the Beards of the Round Table. A tale of cringe and betrayal, and perhaps even love. Although I'd wager not. There's like one directional love. Love has got to have two directions, doesn't it? Cast. Star Spectre is our OP, an Amazonian of a woman. 6'1". Wow, that is Amazonian. With a muscular but curvy build. I got ample TNA. Well, you know what our boy Big Boy from Outkast says about that, right?
Especially the big girls need love too, no discrimination here, squirrel.
That's right. Generally, I'm quite plain, but I do clean up real nice. I am geeky with gutter-minded humor and an endless supply of enthusiasm. I joined my local HEMA, that's Historical European Martial Arts Club, for funsies. Gutter-minded humor, yep. That's why you found your way to ReddX. I'm pretty sure. Katana Beard is the weeb leader and head instructor of the club. He is married, and of course, he owns many katanas. Messer Beard, assistant leader / instructor, creeper, never actually teaches. Well, those are the best kind of teaching jobs, aren't they? They just pay me to show up. Rapier Beard, that's probably not a good name. I mean, I know it's a type of sword, but it implies some stuff, doesn't it? He is an instructor, he is married, and he is also the whitest of knights. Okay, good, then Rapier Beard is not the rapey one. I don't know if we can handle any more stories like that. We're taking a break from that type of story. We got Rondell Beard. He's a student / wrestling instructor. He's also married, a little stocky army guy with a big attitude. And he does indeed have that beard on the inside. I'm not going to plug the t-shirt because you already know, but Teespring link is in the description. Shit, I just plugged the t-shirt. I can't help myself. Featherbeard is also a student. Soft and squishy and quiet, like a wet bread roll. He just kind of stares from afar, and he worships Rondell Beard. Montant Beard, also a student. Very large and greasy, gives off majorly sus vibes. Found out later that my vibes were confirmed. He also, for some reason, worships Rondell Beard. And then we have Precious Bean, that's Rondell Beard's wife, the sweetest, softest, kindest little den mother of a woman. Well, it seems like we got a whole ton of neckbeards to deal with today. Not necessarily all of them are going to be bad people. I remind you, some neckbeards are indeed human, but we got to watch out for the ones that ain't. You know what I'm saying? So we'll point those ones out and we will pick on them as deserved. I never thought that I was neckbeard bait. I'm not small or young or feminine or very submissive, and I'm definitely not Asian. But I found out from this experience that I am the seductive succubus of a beta male's wet dreams. Apparently. Yeah, basically any chick that plays with swords is gonna turn some heads in the neckbeard crowd, I think. I joined my local HEMA club because being a geek of full historical fantasy daydreams, I just had to. At my first lesson, Katana Beard taught, "We only have one heart, so..." The response he expected was, "Always protect your heart," like with your shield. But my smart-ass self said, "OP, sir, but I'm a Time Lord. I have two hearts." I know, go ahead and cringe. I mean, Doctor Who reference, that's not too bad. You're in good company, I'm sure. I could hear the shock and awe behind me. A girl who's pretty and a geek? There were usually one or two other girls in the class. They were super nice and super geeky, but also very shy, socially awkward, and not very likely to try and step into the limelight. I'm still friends with a few of them. Good gals. During the first few lessons, I released the Kraken of my nerdiness. Doctor Who, Mass Effect, The Princess Bride, everything. I was so happy to be amongst folk who actually got my geeky references. Yeah, the real rub comes when you start making quotes from like NeckbeardStories or To Catch a Predator or something like that. Then nobody gets what you're talking about. And that's the best kind of reference, I think. Anyways, a few months down the line though, I started to notice that I was getting extra attention from the instructors and stares from several of the male students. But it all just hit the fan when word got around that I was single and bisexual. I don't know why bisexual applies here, but okay. Rapier Beard had become quite a good friend. We chatted most days about life and its general trials. I was longtime single and returning to school in my early 30s for a second career. Mucho stressful. Early 30s ain't too late. Get it in while the getting's good, you know? But then this man, this Beard, offered to speak to his wife about allowing me into their bed. Oh, God. Rapier Beard, the first to fall. I guess my initial assessment was correct. Because clearly, I just needed some human intimacy, and he was only too glad to attempt to provide it, because he was such a good friend. And to be clear, only if his wife was okay with it. Holy crap. He asked for the consent of his wife, but not the woman he's propositioning. What the hell? Katana Beard offered me private lessons / drill practice at his home. And he told me about his devotion to the Bushido way of life. Wow. Also, he droned on and on about how a katana must be properly made, and most katanas that people used were just glorified wall hangings that they didn't even know how to use properly. Yep, nothing makes the ladies come running quicker than talk of Bushido code. What? Beard, who rarely attended class, would corner me at club parties and ask if I wanted to have a threesome with him and his leg-beard girlfriend. Oh, God. Now I see why the bisexual thing applies. Holy crap. Of course, OP declined this generous offer because they were both obese and greasy and alcoholic and smelled. The wife would also corner me at parties to drunkenly tell me how sexy I was, and I had to hide from both of them. After the first club function, I'm good. I'm not showing up no more. Messerbeard seemed to be overly attentive. I didn't find out about how creepy he was acting until later, though, through the grapevine. I guess more on that a bit later. Featherbeard was essentially harmless, basically a pasty, chubby man-child. Rondelbeard kept trying to hook me up with him because they were buddies. Yeah, that's how it works.
See my friend over there? Why don't you go bang him?
Yeah, okay. Not gonna happen. And then, of course, there is Rondelbeard himself. When I first joined the club, I actively avoided him. He bragged about being in the army and about all his accomplishments, and overall just seemed to be a douche. He was the perfect example of, it's the beard on the inside that counts. Plug the t-shirt. He was short and stocky, but fit and well-groomed, and he knew how to wear deodorant, and he was so very confident. Maybe that's why I eventually fell victim to him. OP, no! In comparison to all the other scruffy, beardy, awkward nerds of the club, he was dashing indeed. He was also the hand-to-hand combat expert and taught the grappling portion of the class. Yes, there is an element of wrestling in medieval sword fighting. I guess that makes sense. What happens if you drop your sword or something? You gotta grapple him! And I definitely know why this guy was, so quick to take up the mantle of teaching the grappling portion. Ugh. After trying unsuccessfully to hook me up with his club buddies, Rondelbeard started flirting with me. He was married, so I figured it was harmless joking. Now let me be extremely clear here that if he is married, that is not harmless joking. That's disrespectful to him, disrespectful to his wife. You need to nip that in the bud ASAP. But it was not nipped in the bud. So eventually, he started smacking OP's ass with the flat of his sword and winking, and then accidentally grabbing her tatas during grappling lessons. God, it's just fucking assault at this point, isn't it? Jesus. Why are you still going to this club? I'm good, man. I blame pheromones for me getting involved with Rondelbeard. I was lonely and had been single for many years, but suddenly practicing full contact wrestling with mostly men, he called me his
best student
who had
a gift for wrestling,
and
you had to throw my weight around.
One night at a club barbecue, when I had had just enough to drink, I'm the kind of person that gets really touchy and flirty when I drink, he approached me about having a threesome with him and his wife, Precious Bean. I'd only just met her that night. She's not really my type, but not someone I'd really hate to fool around with either, so I said, sure, I'd be interested. Oh God, I hate where this story is going. What have I gotten myself into? Rondelbeard said,
okay, let me discuss it with my wife.
Yeah, the wife is the last person you ask about this? Okay, buddy. He hadn't even talked to her about it first. See, OP knows. This should have been my first red flag that he was a controlling asshole, but that's a story for another day. Flash forward about a year, I'm still sword fighting and still romantically involved with Rondelbeard and Precious Bean. There was a whispered, though never proven or legally pursued, accusation against Rondelbeard from another girl in the club of inappropriate touching during grappling lessons. Of course, the accusation came not from the girl herself, but from another unnamed beard
trying to help my lady seek justice.
Because of course. Beards are just the quickest to stab each other in the back. They're like, why does he get to feel those boobas and I don't? When really, he would probably do the exact same thing. I don't know if that's fair. I mean, that's painting with a pretty broad brush, all these beards, but that nice big brush does get the fence painted faster, I'll tell you that much. Suddenly, the whole club is pitted against each other, and not just in Mortal Kombat. Messerbeard starts emailing the girls of the club to warn them to never be alone with Rondelbeard, and to express his fear for Precious Bean and their young daughter. Oh god, they have a kid? The beards are reproducing? Don't tell me that. Ugh. Katana Beard strips away Rondelbeard's position as instructor and kicks him out of the club. Well, that's something at least.
He wasn't following the Bushido code.
Rapier Beard messages me to tell me
how concerned he is that I'm involved with a sexual predator.
and how he
knows I'm a strong woman, aka my lady, but...
And he continues to spend a whole day lecturing me about the dangers of this man and why I shouldn't be alone with him. Featherbeard and Montantbeard leave the club with Rondelbeard because they indeed were convinced of his innocence. Of course. We flash forward another year. I think it's fast forward, by the way. Myself, Rondelbeard, Featherbeard, Montantbeard, and a handful of other local knights. Oh, God. Local knights. Yeah. Not affiliated with the club are doing a sword fighting demo at a convention. One says in passing that the reason Rondelbeard was kicked out of the club was because he
got with Star Spectre,
and in doing so had succeeded where Katana Beard, Messerbeard, and Rapier Beard had all failed. OP? Wait, what? Other night?
Oh yeah! Katana Beard was in the middle of divorcing his wife, and Messier Beard was going around saying that Rondelbeard stole you from him, and that you were his. He had called dibs.
Yes. The legendary and unbreakable law of dibs. I call dibs on that milady. OP just stands there in stunned silence. The other knight says,
"They were jealous of him, and that accusation was just an excuse to kick him out. They didn't think that you would leave with him."
Featherbeard sheepishly, "Yeah, I tried to date you as well." Montantbeard,
"Before I met my girlfriend, I was going to ask you out too."
Other knight,
"Pretty much everyone in the club was trying to ask you out, and because you ended up with Rondelbeard, they got super pissed."
OP, "But I just wanted to learn sword fighting." That's not what this has been about the whole time. Other knight, laughing,
"If you think about it, you're kind of like the Yoko Ono of the HEMA Club."
OP, stunned silence. Everyone,
"That's so true."
So that's how I found out that I was the Holy Grail, and the path into my pants was a quest that led to the destruction of the Beards of the Round Table. The original club eventually reformed and rebranded, and another club was formed from the remains, and a few of us absconded to another HEMA club in town. This is less fun with stabby good times and more serious study. We shall stay true to the source manuscripts.
And the Bushido Code!
But nevertheless, it was a good club. I haven't been back to fighting since the lockdown. Maybe that's for the best. And since I've also broken up with Rondelbeard, though that story is less cringe and more flat-out abuse, I don't know if I'll ever go back. Many thanks for hearkening to my tale, gentlefolk, and be ye well. TLDR, joined a sword fighting club full of neckbeards, and they broke up the club because they all wanted to bone me. What an absolute shit show. What else can I really say about this story? But holy God, just an entire group of people who are absolutely out of their fucking minds. It's good you got out, OP, and I would suggest either never going back or forming a club that you can vet the members for yourself. While the story is funny and quite ridiculous, it also makes me a bit sad because tales exactly like this happen every single day. This is the reason why women stay out of quote unquote nerd spaces, because every time they try and get into it, even if they are legitimately interested in it, they have like this giant target on their back and everybody's just trying to get in their pants, and God, what an absolute horror show. I was super glad that you got away. Unfortunately, one of them beards did get his hooks in ya, and we all know how that one goes. I don't know if you ever feel like sharing that story. It sounds like it's gonna be a bit of a heavy one. I will be here, a listening ear, if you'd like to, but I will consume with caution, as we all should with beard stories, you know. What the hell? What the hell? The Tale of Liberty Beard, the Horrible. Trigger warning for R, ape, sexual assault, and assault. This is not a light one, and I am sorry about that, but maybe it can prove a cautionary tale to young men and women in similar situations. Oh, I think I skipped over that part when I picked this story out. Well, I'll try my best to inject some levity into the situation as much as I can, but let's also prepare for some impotent rage. The first half of my story takes place in high school, and the second half takes place in college. I also want to mention that I have a lot of gaps in my memory, so I'm 100% sure that there are more interactions with Liberty Beard that are just small instances of him just generally being a neckbeard. Also, hi ReddX if you're reading this. Hey, what's up? Thank you for all your videos. They help me get through my days. Well, I do happen to know that Princess Rosalie is one of our patrons, so I'm super happy to be sharing your story today, and I'm definitely glad that I also help you get through your days. You guys help me get through my days as well. Anyways, up next we've got our cast list, as usual. OP, short, pushover, a sophomore for both halves of this story, just different levels of education. I'm kind of typical neckbeard bait. Loves video games, anime, I dress alternatively, and I was far too naive. Also, for reference, men have always seemed to think that some parts of my body are attractive, particularly my chest. Yeah, men love them boobas, I don't know. Liberty Beard, a year younger than me. In the second half of this story, he does have a literal neck beard. He also smells bad, just not like intensely. But bad is still bad, let's be clear on that. He has enough social skills to know what you should and should not do or say to people, but generally not enough will to follow up on that. Frenchie was my boyfriend during the first part of the story where I met Liberty Beard. Average white guy. Also, Liberty Beard's section leader the year that I met him. He's 1 year older than me. Section leader? What is that? You guys in a cult or something? And we also have Claire, though that is not her real name. She was the previous object of Liberty Beard's desires. She was shy, short, cute, and soft-spoken, but she also had a boyfriend. She was in my section in band. Band! Why is it always the band kids, though? I think I mentioned that in the Stinkbeard video. She was in my section in band when I was a section leader, so I feel protective over her a little bit. She is the same age as Liberty Beard. Sorry for the long intro, but here we go! I mean, we gotta have a cast list, otherwise we're just jumping in and I'm like, who the hell are these people? Anyways, high school. When I first met Liberty Beard, he didn't really set off any alarm bells in my head. He seemed like a normal band kid. Which, to start with, is already quite a bit weirder than basically any other group in high school, admittedly. I don't mean to give heat to the band kids, man. My best friend in high school was a band kid. But they do lack some social graces, that's all I'm saying. He was socially awkward with women, but not with men. At this point in my life, I highly prided myself upon being one of the boys. Ah, yeah. So he somewhat talked to me, but as with many neckbeards or nice guys, even though all the boys treated me like one of them, Liberty Beard, on the other hand, could just not seem to handle that. I don't really know how else to explain it, but he talked to me differently, and he treated me differently. My first incident with Liberty Beard was during a basketball game that our school band was playing at. Frenchie and Liberty Beard played French horn during concert season, but during marching band and pep band, they played the mellophone. The hell's a mellophone? I guess it's this, I just Googled it. And they sat near the top of the bleachers, whilst me and Claire played clarinet. Oh, clarinet. Frenchie plays the French horn. I see what's going on here. I played a little bit of trombone in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. If I continued playing it into high school, I guess my nickname would have been Trombona. So yeah, OP and Claire, pretty close to the front. Since I had most of my music memorized, I could go and sit with Frenchie and a couple of our other friends that sat near him, as long as our band director didn't care or notice, depending upon the day. So during this basketball game, like many other games, I snuck up the bleachers to sit with my beloved Frenchie. We all kept a lot of water bottles around because we would get in trouble with the band director if he caught us drinking anything other than water, since that was bad for you and the instrument. I guess that makes sense. That's why I keep vodka in a water bottle. It makes me think I'm playing better, at the very least. I don't recall what led up to this next thing happening, because all I remember was talking to Frenchie, and then suddenly, Liberty Beard was trying to shove a water bottle down my throat while laughing. Context is important, man. What set this off? You would think Frenchie, or even another band kid sitting near us, would try and stop this, but no, everyone just laughed. What the hell is going on? Now, like I mentioned, I'm a pushover. I have a huge fear of people not liking me, being mad at me, or making fun of me. So what just happened was already enough for me to decide to just try and not make a further scene out of this. The only reaction I really had was, why the fuck would you do that? To which I remember Liberty Beard just trying to shrug it off. This was kind of how a lot of guys treated me. And yeah, Frenchie just let it happen. I have so many stories about Frenchie being a shitty person, but he isn't a neckbeard. From then on, I stayed away from the top of the bleachers. I stayed away from Liberty Beard. I know I should have reported it, but I kind of felt like I would be ostracized from my friends if I had done that, even if that may not have been true. Which part wasn't true? The fact that they would have ostracized you, or the fact that they weren't your friends at all? Sound like a bunch of dickhead high school kids to me. I ain't got time, I ain't got inclination. Anyways, we move on to college. So, at the end of my freshman year of college, Frenchie had broken up with me for the girl that he liked, and I basically felt like he had been planning this for months. He did this in an extremely shitty way, with one of those things being getting me kicked off of our lease, since his mother co-signed for him and our mutual friend. I do have beard stories about that guy too, if anyone is interested. We always need beard stories over here, especially beard stories about beards that run to mommy. Mommy, fix my problems. Oh, you want to break up with this girl? I'll get her kicked out for you. No fucking balls. This meant that she threatened to remove her cosign for all of us as a way of guilt-tripping me into taking myself off the lease so as not to screw over our mutual friend, who was actually a good guy to me at the time. This led to my sophomore year of college being an absolutely miserable time for me. Most of the friends I had chose to stay friends with Frenchie instead of me because he had said that
I was abusive and just awful to him.
Aww, and his mommy backed him up on that. Meanwhile, in the last year, he had constantly ignored me, threw things at me, emotionally cheated, and finally, raped me, though I'm sure he still doesn't see it that way. I'll admit that during the beginning of Frenchie and I's relationship that I was sorta overbearing and maybe not the best girlfriend, but I was a freshman, and by my junior year of high school I was basically a completely different person. And after reconnecting with old friends of the both of us, they agree that I wasn't in any way abusive to him. This had left me lonely this year though, having no friends in town, and living alone and having to work all the time just to stay afloat since I had to rent a more expensive place. Sorry for the long wind-up, it's just necessary to understand my mindset during this time period. So, freshman year, I had worked at a dining center on campus with Frenchie and the girl that he left me for. Ooh, That's smarts, man. It ain't easy to find a new job, but I would be on the hunt. I continued to work there my sophomore year, and I did get promoted to supervisor. Ooh, time to enact some revenge. OP doesn't seem like that type of person, though. I did love the job. One day, a new kind of smelly employee was put on the lines that I was supervising. It was during our slow shift, the midday shift, when not a lot of people come in, so we had a lot of time to chat. That new employee was Liberty Beard, who over the last 4 years had grown a neck beard and gotten chubbier, but so had I, to be fair. Now, it had been almost 4 years since the water bottle incident happened. Since I was a very different person then, I assumed that Liberty Beard had probably changed too. Now we know what assuming does. Just keep him away from water bottles, you'll be alright. So Liberty Beard and I started engaging in casual conversation. A lot of the time about how much our high school sucked compared to some other high schools, but eventually we did get into some deeper discussions. The only thing I do think that is good about Liberty Beard is that he could have a very civil debate, and he never engaged in any tactics that shamed me for my beliefs. The reason I named him Liberty Beard is mainly because of his political beliefs. He had a strong sense of thinking that everyone deserved certain liberties, like owning whatever gun they want and so on. He was a libertarian, I think. Yeah, I just want gay couples to be able to protect their marijuana farms with guns. Is that so wrong? I'm kind of with him on that. I believe that guns should be regulated, not taken away, so please don't harass me about being a gun-hating commie or something. I don't even engage in political debate anymore. It's just a waste of time. After talking civilly for a month, I opened up about the fact that Frenchie had sexually assaulted me, and also that a previous ex had assaulted me before high school. He had been kind to me during this time, so I thought that this was okay. One day Liberty Beard was on his bicycle getting something from the grocery store, and it was raining, and I knew my apartment was in between the grocery store and his dorm, so I offered for him to come over for a bit to dry off and take a break so the rain could die down. Oh god, I see where this is going. Oh god, the last puzzle piece fell into place! No, OP! I hate it already. The whole thing was just very awkward for me, and I felt unsafe even though I had no reason to be. Just a gut feeling, I guess. Listen to that! Obviously, this was a big mistake, but nothing further actually came of this other than a fear of him coming over uninvited, which never even actually happened. He wanted to come over a couple of other times, but I always made excuses. Liberty Beard and I talked a lot at this point, though. I could tell that he was kinda into me, but 1, I was not interested, and 2, I was dating another guy at this point, although he lived 2 hours away in my hometown. One day over text, Liberty Beard starts opening up about how he had
a huge crush on Claire during high school.
And he had asked her out, and she refused him because she had a boyfriend. Liberty Beard then informs me that after this, he started having thoughts about assaulting Claire. Bro, you really gonna come out and say some stuff like that? Ugh! Cut ties, what's wrong with you? Report him to the police, make a paper trail. What the hell? What the hell? Who's gonna just say some shit like that in the conversation? Oh my god. He made it clear that he thought Claire's boyfriend
wasn't good enough for her, and that he could protect her.
Yeah, protect her by raping her. What sort of mental gymnastics? I can't even, dude. Like, and this is during a conversation. He's actually saying all this to another person. I don't have the words. What is life anymore? Oh, he felt entitled to Claire's body, as he had felt entitled to mine 4 years prior. The water bottle incident. This was after I opened up to him about being raped and sexually assaulted, and I just genuinely did not know what to say. Samesies. Out of fear for my safety, I tried to console him. What? You don't console him, you say you're a disgusting human. Go live in the trash where you belong, garbage. This has gone completely off the rails! I don't know what universe we're living in anymore, honestly. That is shocking to me. Oh, I continued to work with Liberty Beard for weeks, trying my best to pretend that I didn't know what I knew. It was hard, but I do hate to stir up issues. Eventually, I started ignoring his texts a bit and having less interesting responses. Block this fucker, dude! What? How are you involved? Ugh! I immediately switched from like fearing about OP's safety to just being shocked and horrified that she wouldn't immediately tell this guy off and tell him that he's a disgusting human being. Which is probably something that he needs to hear, as if he didn't know already. One day I finally told a friend what Liberty Beard had said to me, and they confirmed to me that I was not crazy and had a right to be fearful and creeped out. More than that, it might just be thought crime, dude, but have him drawn and quartered. Ugh. A week or so after that, I decided to ask my managers to meet privately, and I cried while telling them what had happened. And they said that they had a lot of similar situations where women were made uncomfortable by Liberty Beard's presence, and that even though I was the only supervisor during this time, that they would move me to prep and figure the rest out. Fire him! What is wrong with these jobs, dude? Casino Beard, Bowler Beard, now Liberty Beard. Just hire all the beardos and never fire them for anything that they do. I really don't think I want to live on this planet anymore. I was anxious that whole year that Liberty Beard would figure out what happened and that I blocked him and maybe he'd come to my house and harass me or worse. Nothing ever happened, but I was scared of him until I left that town. I like to think that most people deserve a fresh start, but now that I know that a fresh start does not mean that I have to forgive people, a fresh start just means that they can go somewhere else and try again with new people. But I am not obligated to forgive people that have done shitty things to me. I like that ending. That's a good moral. Anyways, pretty sure I rambled on for long enough. I hope that anyone who read it enjoyed it, although it was kinda rough for me to relive it, but I may as well get a Reddit post out of my trauma. The lowest form of compensation. But I do thank you for sharing, OP. I know a lot of these things are like, you know, basically a Pandora's box full of bad feelings, but I definitely appreciate you sitting down and reliving it for me, even though I was a bit judgmental that you didn't shut the dude down correctly. I know not everybody has my personality. I mean, I'm a pretty tolerant dude, but if you're being a creep, I will be the first to go head to head. Anywho, if anyone has any writing tips, let me know. It's been a while since I wrote something that wasn't just for college. And if anyone else wants to hear about the other neckbeards I interacted with during high school, one of them being my ex-best friend, let me know. As always, I would love to have some more neckbeard stories. Them's delicious, I cannot get enough, it's just a fact, it's totally science, etc, etc. Honestly, I'm glad that this story didn't turn out a lot worse than it did. You had a fear of this man, that must have caused you some sort of trauma, but at least you weren't actually physically assaulted, at least aside from the water bottle incident, which I'm still curious about the context. Like, what the hell set all that off? Or is it just dumb high school kids being dumb high school kids? And then basically Liberty Beard never really grew out of being a dumb high school kid. Sure, he evolved some more mature political beliefs, but that does not a person make, you know what I mean? Under all that life, liberty, pursuit of happiness jargon, you're still a creep who is seriously considering depriving someone else of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness just because you can't get your stupid little rocks off. You're worthless, under-equipped, shriveled, disgusting little wiener.
Nobody wants to touch it, so I have to make them touch it.
So much for all them libertarian viewpoints, am I right? He was so vocally down bad.
I was just down bad.
The perverted folly of Downbeard. Hello everyone, it's me, Cake Jerry. That's a different Jerry. For the uninitiated. God, I love how Cake Jerry has become a meme. It's just beautiful. Who would have thought one of my Patreon subscribers would become a meme in himself? Let not my edgy Reddit username deceive you. The ataxic one, that doesn't have quite the same ring as Cake Jerry. I gotta be honest. I've come to share a rather unique neckbeard experience from my time working in fast food. Oh, bless you. Retail is not easy, but fast food, man, that is the toughest of the tough. I say unique because this guy doesn't exactly fit the criteria of a neckbeard, to the point where he might not even count as a neckbeard at all. Oh, we will be the judges of that, sir. He isn't interested in any nerd interests as far as I'm aware, and he doesn't have the condescending pseudo-intellectual euphoria of an enlightened atheist. However, his appearance, his seeming lack of social awareness, his refusal to own up to his own mistakes and accept them in a dignified manner, and his shameless and depraved hypersexuality, or at least his lack of sense to not tell others about it without consent, make him, at the very least, neckbeard adjacent. Well, honestly, I think you got this nailed down to a T. You've been around the channel long enough, you know what a neckbeard is. And while I won't say he ticks all of the boxes, that's not what it takes. Just tick a majority of the boxes, and congratulations, here's your neckbeard crown. Go take a shower. He was so vocally down bad that it surpassed all conceivable measurements, going beyond even down atrocious or down horrendous, and thus we have granted him the title of Downbeard. I'm sorry if this total lack of adherence to the strict definition is an affront to neckbeard scholars everywhere, but I don't give a damn. It's not an exact science, okay? I gotta be completely honest with you. I don't think anybody is offended, at least not at this point. Although if we get to the end of the story and he's basically a Chad and you're describing him as a neckbeard, then I'm gonna have to roast you a little bit, you know? I've been dying to release this story from the depths of my memories, and hopefully this trauma serves as some entertaining cringe content for you all. Well, I thank you very much for sharing. Sorry about the trauma, you know, great things come with pain or something like that. Massive trigger warning, by the way. I will be describing in full detail all of the things that this neckbeard said. Uh-oh. Because the depravity of it is important to the story, and this will include some very sexual matters, one mention of severe animal abuse, although he didn't actually abuse an animal, so don't worry, one slight moment of racism, and some borderline pedophilia. And when I say it's depraved, I fucking mean it. So read at your own risk. This may cost me the chance of hearing ReddX read the story on his channel due to demonetization concerns, but if I tried to censor the story, then there wouldn't be a whole lot of story to tell. No, this is good practice, okay? I'm used to dodging these word hurdles. Everything's gotta be great, I promise. For a quick rundown of his physical appearance, he definitely fits the criteria of a neckbeard. He didn't noticeably smell bad, but his facial hair and kinda creepy stare made him look eerily similar to the Coomer Wojak, but with the typical body size of a neckbeard. God damn, dude, Wojaks have totally taken the internet by storm in the past couple years. I thought the meme would die, but it just doesn't. As we all know, it is the neckbeard on the inside that counts. T-shirt. And for the first couple of weeks of working with him, it wasn't too bad. He was nice, didn't cause too much trouble, and he seemed legitimately passionate about his job. At worst, he was just a bit too hyper. The first point of contention was when he shouted something along the lines of,
"That's because the hospital has them on the best shit in town!"
really loudly in the direction of the front counter. When there was a customer standing right there. Our general manager had threatened to fire him if he wouldn't stop swearing, so apparently this was already a recurring issue at this point. I mean, to me, that just sounds like a statement of fact, to me. The hospital does have the best shit. What do you want? Although I do get, you know, being professional. I don't want to bring my 5-year-old into McDonald's and have him walk out saying, yeah, that's the best shit in town. Yes, you're right, but you can't say it. You can't just say it. A few days after this, he was talking to other employees via the headset while he was on drive-thru, and while his headset was connected to the drive-thru speaker, he said,
"Yeah, I'm your bitch."
right when a car pulled into the drive-thru. The customer didn't mind all that much about the incident, but our manager still had to write him up for it since you obviously aren't supposed to swear at unsuspecting customers. Yeah, what if it was like a grandma rolling through the drive-thru? That ain't good. A write-up on its own is not the end of the world. At worst, Downbeard would basically just get a slap on the wrist, especially given the circumstances. But to Downbeard, this was the end of the goddamn world. He suddenly got paranoid and started ranting about
how nervous he was about losing his job or getting his hours cut.
Which are all valid concerns, but claiming that
this job is the only thing supporting my family.
Oh, if that's true, that's sad, but I don't honestly think that's true. All while making a huge fuss about basically just a small write-up and saying,
I may as well just walk out and quit.
Seems kinda counterproductive. See, now you know the supporting the family thing is complete trash. It's just something he says to feel like a big man. But if you have the freedom to quit like that, then yeah, you either don't give a single damn about your family or you're not actually the one that's supporting them. But we all already knew that. Moving on. He also kept begging the manager to call the general manager to ask him what would happen, which the manager reiterated several times that he couldn't do. And he even started to act shitty towards other employees who he thought were bad-mouthing him due to the write-up. Nobody cares about the write-up, bro. He ended up making the write-up worse for himself than it ever would have been had he not had a meltdown over it. But as mentioned earlier, all he got was a slap on the wrist, so he could have learned his lesson and just gotten off scot-free. But then he went and did the same exact thing again. He was on drive-thru again and was arguing with a 16-year-old employee for some stupid reason. One of the customers could hear the argument through the window, and she took it as him being rude to her, which led to her complaining to the manager, which led to yet another write-up for Downbeard. Is this a 2 strikes and you're out type of thing? I hope he doesn't walk into this fast food establishment with an AK. Go all postal. Downbeard, having not learned his lesson, went into meltdown mode over the write-up again and became a nuisance over it, of course, yet again. It was arguably even worse this time because he was doing this while we were in a major rush, and he refused to go back to his position and was begging the manager
to let him have a smoke break.
While cars were wrapped around the freaking building. Just go in the walk-in, that's what everybody else does. His behavior was so disruptive that it was causing me social anxiety from the general commotion that he was causing, and I could only assume that others felt the same. Once again, he made his write-up worse, but it was still only a slap on the wrist. What can I say? We were, and still are, desperate for staff. Yeah, because most people know, or at least assume, what it's like to work in a fast food establishment. I ain't never done it for a reason. I'll do anything else. I'll haul bricks. Don't make me work at fast food. But all of this is just a filler arc compared to what comes next. This is where we learn how he got his name. This was during closing time, where it was only me, the manager from both of these incidents, and Downbeard. I was gathering cash drawers for the manager, which led to me making a joke about an ex-employee who, for convenience sake, I will name Stench Wench. I love that name. I'll explain it in a second. She had thrown the cash drawers in a fit of rage, which was in reference to the incident that had gotten her fired. To put the following events into perspective, Stench Wench is a legbeard of nuclear proportions. As obvious by her name, she did not smell good. She was extremely unhygienic, lazy, whiny, and just outwardly unpleasant to everyone around her. And that is only the tip of the iceberg. I should get around to making a post about her if I can unrepress enough memories about her to make one, but For now, I'm just describing her to add some context to this story. Upon mention of her name, Downbeat turns to us and goes,
Wait, did you guys say stench wench? Isn't that the bitch that used to work at the McDonald's and the local gas station?
Yeah? Why? I asked.
I would just love to titty fuck them.
What the hell? God, that got me good. It came out of left field. He said this with the confidence that few could ever match. The manager and I both had to do a double take. This guy was shamelessly sexually attracted to stench wench and was blurting it out to us without any restraint. Keep in mind as I continue that Downbeard has a wife and a kid. Oh, the beards are reproducing. And the poor wife, that poor woman, why would you put yourself through this? Just leave! I just legitimately hate cheaters, dude. Even in theory, even as like a silly haha joke. It's not a joke. You're disrespecting yourself and your wife. Clean your act up. And with this, he went on a tangent of horniness that absolutely nobody had asked for, listing off just about any female that he could think of that we might have been familiar with. To point out a few notable moments, he said he wanted to grudge fuck one of our female managers that he didn't like, and he said he wanted to have sex with one of our former female managers because he
never tried chocolate before.
Oh, God. The fetishization, the casual racism. Just what a prize this beard is, isn't he? What an absolute specimen. In the middle of his tangent, Downbeard decided to bring up a news story he read on Facebook about someone's wife walking in on some guy while he did unsightly acts on a pit bull. What? I have no idea why that was included in the tangent, but trust me, I totally wanted to hear about it while I did my tasks for the night. Yeah, totally interesting, awesome. Talking about degeneracy will definitely make you a more interesting person. Oh crap, I feel like I stabbed myself in the foot on that last sentence. This one detail is honestly so gross that if you aren't certain that you can handle it, just skip to the next paragraph and spare your stomach. This specific part warrants an extra warning. I'll wait a minute for people that want to skip this part of the video to skip this part of the video. Just 20-30 seconds, that should do it. You ready? He shared one of his sexual encounters where he was doing anal, and the girl he was screwing took a shit right in the middle of intercourse. And he just kept going regardless. Totally seems like something he would do. And for some reason, he just told us this, as if it wasn't incredibly gross. But I guess he just thought it was funny or something. Now, I have a warped sense of humor, but there's a time and a place, and the work environment is not it. Don't try to impress your manager with some story about getting poop on your dick. The social awareness, my God. But the crowning moment of this cursed night was when he decided that this was a smart thing to tell us in full confidence.
You know, for a 16-year-old, that one coworker has a real nice body.
Ugh. I could not visibly hide the cringe on my face when I heard this. Downbeard was totally confused as to why we didn't agree with this.
Are you telling me that once she turned 18, you wouldn't let her slob on your knob?
Slob on your knob. Oh, God. The saddest part of this entire story is the fact that this subhuman is reproduced. Oh, God. What's his wife like, I wonder? No self-respect, I'll tell you that much.
No, we would not.
The manager and I both responded to this supposedly irrefusable offer, and this was the note that the night thankfully ended on. He ended up going on similar tangents at least twice for the remainder of his time there, including one time where he did it in front of an open drive-through window, which a customer was parked right next to. Oh, lovely. Was that the third write-up? Is he gone now? Please let it end. The tale of Downbeard has a rather anticlimactic end, although that's probably for the better, let's be real. He ended up getting a job at a local restaurant while still keeping his fast food job, but when the general manager caught him calling off work to work at the other place, he was quickly fired. And that is hopefully the last that I will ever see of Downbeard. I don't know if he was truly a pedophile, or at the very least, one that would actually put a child into harm's way. All I hope is that he's too pathetic to be able to do so, even if he did want to. So, thanks for reading through all this, if any of you actually did. The story is probably too much for some to stomach, and that is understandable, but for those of you who chose to share my pain, I can never thank you enough. In this small, shitty rural town that I live in, there are enough degenerate cretins that I could write quite a few posts about them. So if this post is well received enough, and or I feel motivated enough, then I'll be sure to write those as well. And ReddX, if you do decide to read this, I am so sorry. You good, bro? Nobody got assaulted. I mean, it's a creepy conversation, but that's all it is a text post about a conversation. So I think we're safe, despite the objectionable subject matter. Feel free to censor or skip whatever parts you want if you do read it. Either way, I would be extremely stoked to hear you read this. Anyways, thanks again, everyone, and have a good day, night, whatever. So I have no doubt in my mind that this guy qualifies as pure neckbeard. Delusions of grandeur, he's got them. Self-entitlement, yep, got that too. And those are the two biggest boxes. It can all be summed up with the one sentence where he's describing what he wants to do to these girls who honestly would probably never have any sort of association with him. I'm sure Cake Jerry doesn't even want an association with this guy. It was just unfortunate timing, I suppose, that you ran into this fellow. And I gotta be really, really surprised that he's able to find not just one job, but two jobs. Multiple jobs. And both of them are in the food service industry. I'm never fucking eating out again, bro. Hey, baby, you want to go to the Pizza Hut inside the Target? Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Target!
Sinbeard, the military neckbeard slash weeb. Oh my. Hey ReddX, hi religious otaku. Love your videos. And I figured that I would add to the Neckbeard stories with one of my own that I had pushed out of my mind until the most recent video on the Neckbeard anime nerd that was racist towards the OP. Which one is that? That rings a lot of bells. It's kind of a common trope, if I'm honest. But I do appreciate you sharing your story with us. Sorry that I had to bring it to the forefront of your mind, but also maybe you're welcome. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I do know that there are a lot of moments that I look back on and go, why the hell was I friends with him? Now, I'm gonna call him something like Gundam Beard because he had so many models of Gundam, but then I remembered that there already is a Gundam Beard. That's what I was gonna say. So he is now Sinbeard, and that is because he was a major fan of the anime The Seven Deadly Sins. Hey, now we're getting creative. I do appreciate you respecting the naming regulations of the beards. Gundam Beard was nowhere near a popular enough beard to take the name 100%, but I do like Sinbeard pretty good as well. I've watched several episodes of this anime, but let's just say that he was one of the major reasons that I do not watch this anime regularly. He didn't look like a neckbeard. He was fit and clean-shaven, but it is the beard on the inside that counts. Yes, indeed. Check it out, Teespring. Oh, what's good? What's going on? I hope you pick it up. And yes, Sinbeard was indeed a neckbeard through and through. I have a lot of stories about him, and I can definitely tell more if anyone is interested. Either way, let's get started. Oh yeah, no cast list or nothing. We just hitting it. Proud of you, OP. For context, high school sucks. A lot. Yeah, that happens. My parents talked about getting divorced, and I was not in the best place mentally during that time. I had a lot of friends that were supportive, and I will be grateful to them, but Sinbeard is somebody that I should have avoided. In short, he was clingy to an extreme degree. He had his own issues at home, and I was timid. Ergo, this turned into the dark version of an introvert being adopted by an extrovert. Oh no, not the kind of extrovert you want to be adopted by. A beard? Bro, you're gonna have to change your own litter box, feed yourself. He can't even take care of himself. It was easy due to the fact that we went to the same church. He was, unfortunately, one of those guys that really takes to heart the whole thing where it says that
The man is the head of his household, like how Christ is the head of the church.
I think this is why my mom put it into my head that while the husband is the head of the household, the wife is the neck, pointing the head in the right direction. That's far too accurate, man. I say that I'm the gas and my wife is the engine, you know. We can make a lot of money, we could gas it up however we want, but without the engine, we are not going anywhere. So yeah, discussion about family structures aside, he had a lot of crushes, and this caused him to try and attach himself to anyone that he found remotely interesting to a big degree, to the point where his parents were legitimately worried. Now, his parents were cool, and they actually really liked me, mainly due to the fact that we had the same sense of humor. Sinbeard had found a girl that he was interested in, and talked to me about her while we were playing Skyrim. OP, probably worried, but trying to be cordial. She sounds awesome, man. Congrats, Sinbeard.
Thanks, OP. She looks exactly like Sheba.
That is a fake name, but she was a girl that we had both been friends with, and one that he also had a heavy crush on, but she, obviously, did not return the favor.
Yeah, just like her, but with bigger boobs.
Oh boy, OP. Interesting. Sinbeard says,
Yeah, we're actually gonna have a date today. Do you want to come with us?
third wheel? No, what? Why? This caught me off guard entirely, and I just stared dumbfounded. OP, wait, what? Sinbeard,
Yeah, I figured my best friend should meet her. You can walk around Target or something while we eat at the Pizza Hut in there.
oh God. What a first date. Hey baby, you wanna go to the Pizza Hut inside the Target? Yeah. I'm treating you tonight. Holy shit. OP, are you sure? Don't you think that'll be a little awkward? Sinbeard,
Nah, it should be fine.
I was about to give him an answer, hopefully no, when his mom actually called me to help with something, which I took that opportunity to get the hell out of this conversation. In the kitchen, she and Sinbeard's dad were there, which made me a little nervous, to say the least. Sinbeard's mom said, OP, we need to ask you something. OP, yeah, what's up? Sinbeard's dad,
Could you do a favor for us?
OP, what's the favor? Sinbeard's dad,
Can you go with Sinbeard to his date?
OP, really? Oh, what the hell? Sinbeard's dad,
I know it's weird, but we would feel more comfortable if you had someone else there. We can give you some money so you can get something from there. We just want to make sure that everything goes well.
it would go a lot better without me, I promise. Third wheel's only gonna make it awkward. But then again, I really don't know much about this Neckbeard, you know. He could be like total predator status. Maybe the parents know something that I don't. So okay, yeah, go OP. Along for the ride, why not? Looking back, I don't know if I should have said no or made up something that would let me get the hell out of this situation, but I had a tendency to be that friend that is always helping others but does nothing to help themselves. So, of course, I said yes. God damn, selfless as hell, which is a great trait, but not in every case. OP says, yeah, I guess I can do that. Sinbeard's mom said, we really appreciate it. You're such a good influence on him, and maybe you can rub off on him a little more. That joke is too easy. I'm not gonna go there. OP, I got it. I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah. Safe to say, it was not fine. It was just as awkward as you think that it would be. His dad drove us there and gave us a couple of hours to spend in a Target. The girl that Sinbeard was going out with was pretty off-put too by this, but she tried to brush it off. Sinbeard,
hi, Date. This is OP. He's just gonna hang out while we're here.
Date, visibly uncomfortable. Hi, nice to meet you. OP, hi. Oh, that's good stuff. After a few more little awkward sentences, I excused myself, got a slice of pizza and a pretzel, and then got the hell out of there as fast as I could. From what I saw, it seemed like everything went all right. After the date, we got picked up and I went home. A few weeks after that, I got a text from him saying that
they had stopped dating because she was stingy and didn't want to go as far as he wanted or something like that.
Yeah, sounds like a real good church-going boy, doesn't he? I guess lust is the first sin of Sinbeard. I can't really remember, and I don't have the phone that the texts were on anymore, but this was definitely one of the first signs of how bad Sinbeard actually was, and it was what ultimately made me drop him as a friend, when his stupid antics would have messed up my wedding big time. If people are interested, I could definitely tell that story, along with plenty of other stories involving relationships and anime, street races, waifus, and cringe. That good old cringe. But either way, I hope you enjoyed the story, and I got plenty more where that came from. Have a good day or night or whatever the hell you're having. And beware of beards. Oh, bro, I was hoping for so much more. Yes, third wheeling on a date to Target. That is some delicious cringe, but I do need more, OP. I'm going to say that. You can't just drop street races and waifus and walk out. If you give a mouse a cookie, you know what I'm saying? He's going to want some cringe. So yes, of course, I would love to see more. If you have time, if you see this video, if you're still hanging around the subreddit. This was posted 24 days ago. I'm digging back a little bit in the subreddit, but I do hope that you're still chilling and still willing to offer us some more cringe of Sinbeard. But with that story wrap, let's see what our patron Princess Rosalie has for us over in the DBZ Beard story. My brief interactions with DBZ Beard. Yeah. A short cast list first. OP, short, chubby, somewhat naive, neckbeard bait. Autistic, but I didn't know that back then. I'm also the OP from the Liberty Beard story. Hey, I do remember that. I'm gonna stick it in the description if y'all want some of that. This took place before that one, for the most part. Frenchie was my high school boyfriend, also appears in Liberty Beard, I believe. He's kind of a scumbag, but not in this story in particular. Skinny, white boy stereotype, nerdy. Rolling backpack was Frenchie's little brother, an asshole to me who made me cry several times on purpose. If I beat him in a game, he would try and get me kicked out of the house by crying to mommy. Tall, chubby, awkward, has been known to pressure women into hanging out and more. Ugh. Definitely a beard as well. You're just surrounded by him, OP. How do you escape? Mommy Dearest was their mother. Not a great woman. She would play nice to your face and then talk shit behind your back. Also abused her children physically, on occasion. Whew. DBZ Beard, chubby, medium height, very nerdy. He is autistic, but that doesn't give you a pass on everything. You got that right, OP. Boundaries is boundaries, no matter your condition. He knew what he was doing in at least some of these situations. He is obsessed with gaming and anime, and severely coddled by his parents. Frequently uses being autistic as an excuse for basically anything, even if it doesn't make any sense. And now, to the actual story. Hi, Red, if you're reading this, love your content. Aw, thanks, Rosalie. I appreciate your patronage. And of course, sharing the stories with the channel. It does mean a lot. Glad to see you still hanging around. So, this is definitely a short one, because after the first time I spoke to this kid, I knew that I wanted nothing to do with him. That bad, huh? He was my boyfriend's younger brother's best friend when we were in high school. Boyfriend's younger brother's best friend. Okay, I got it. My first interaction with DBZBeard was over Xbox Live. We were all like pretty early into high school, or maybe late middle school age. I don't remember what game we were playing, but I just remember him being particularly annoying. People would ask him to stop doing things, politely, multiple times, and he just never would. Yeah, that sounds like my experience on Xbox Live, man. Oh, God. Good times, bad times, you know I've had my share. For what I recall, it was just general griefing or saying inappropriate things like slurs. Yep, that's Xbox Live, all right. After that, I didn't really want to play if he was playing. I was already annoyed by my friends when we played due to them having played the games longer and just not explaining things to me when I didn't get it. Yeah, not great friends. You understand it helps the whole team out when you're sharing your little tips and tricks, right? What the hell? So, yeah, he was the last straw in a way. It made me upset to play with him, and the point of playing to me was to relax for a bit, as it always should be in gaming, although rarely is, especially if you're a sweaty tryhard like I am. He just always thought that he was hot shit and the best at every game, when in reality, when he played on PC, he cheated and had aimbots and such, and would tell us that
he was only doing so bad because he was on console, but he'd totally wreck us on PC.
Yeah, because he got an aimbot. What? To clarify, he was not very good at games, unless he used a cheesy strategy, and then he would complain when there was an update that fixed the game to where you couldn't use that strategy or ability anymore. Being bad at games is fine. I'm bad at games, but I have fun playing them, and I also don't walk around going like, oh,
I'm the best gamer ever.
Because I'm totally not. I get my shit handed to me by 10-year-olds who have 8 hours a day to play games. The secret is you don't base your whole personality on whether you're good at video games or not. It's a very difficult concept to understand, but I know that you can do it. Come on, DBZBeard. The first time I met him in person, he wasn't that bad. Frenchie and I were dropping off some game that Rolling Backpack had wanted to give him or let him borrow, and he was nice and tolerable during this brief interaction. He had a puppy, though, that was not being taken perfect care of, not being taken out enough. I got this information from Frenchie and also just by seeing the dog. I wasn't fond of dogs at this point, so I stayed a ways away. Don't come at me though. I got a Great Dane mix who's about to turn 1 this month, and I love dogs now. You shouldn't feel pressured into liking any animals, OP. If you don't like dogs at that point in your life, that's fine, you know. But if you do have a dog and you're not taking it out, then I'm gonna come for you. You chose to take this animal's life into your hands, so fucking take care of it. It's so basic. Now occasionally I'd still end up playing with DBZBeard after me and Frenchie got PS4s because not a lot of other people in our friend group had them yet. We were playing Broderlands, hey, I love that, and chatting one day, and then he spoils the bunkers and badasses DLC for me. Oop. I was livid. I didn't really let that leak into our conversation too much because I thought I'd be a bit of a bitch if I was mean to him just because he was being autistic. Honestly, I should have said something though, just been calm about it. Yeah, again, you don't have to be super mean about it, but you do need to let them know where the line is and when something they did is not cool. The DLC was super exciting for me, as I would play the main story of the game more than once since I normally couldn't afford DLC or more games. So yeah, that really sucked. But oh well, he also knew that it was my first time playing it. Honestly, that's probably the least egregious thing that he's done, spoiling some DLC. Like, saying racial slurs on Xbox Live, egregious. Not taking your dog out and taking care of the animal that you've chosen, heinous. Spoiling DLC, yeah, it sucks, but okay. I can at least partially understand how that could happen. The breaking point where I could not stand this beard anymore was when Mommy Dearest hosted a graduation party for Frenchie. I had to bring my 2 younger siblings to this. They were at the time like 9 and 7, I believe. At an 18-year-old party? Bruh. That's not gonna be good. Or is this middle school graduation? I assume graduation party is like a real graduation, i.e. high school or college. But I guess we'll see. So yeah, there were a lot of people at this party. Their families, both Frenchie and Roller Backpack's friends and family friends. There was alcohol in the basement, which was where our group usually chilled during big parties like this. Most of our friend group grabbed 1 Mike's Hard Lemonade. A single beer would be the equivalent. Roller Backpack got angry about this, but their dad had allowed it. Mommy Dearest, though, would not approve of his choice. Roller Backpack tattled to Mommy Dearest, and we had to quickly down and throw away our drinks. A lot of us headed upstairs after this. I already knew that my mom was okay if I had a single drink like this at a party where there were responsible adults. I also knew that 1 drink would not get me drunk. So I felt okay doing this even though my siblings were there. Note, DBZ Beard did not drink anything. After we came up from the basement, my siblings and I went outside since their front lawn and porch was pretty nice. This is the part that made me really upset. My siblings were picking leaves off of a hedge and throwing them at each other. I asked them to stop after I noticed since it's rude to tear up plants like that and make a mess. Then DBZ Beard joins in and starts throwing leaves at them, so I ask him to stop. He says, "They don't mind," referring to my siblings. They didn't at that point, but he kept going for a couple of minutes. Then they started to get uncomfortable and asked him to stop. He didn't. I again asked this teenager, who apparently has less boundaries than literal children, to stop once more. And we ended up going inside because he just would not stop. That's so ridiculous, dude. This was the last time that I ever interacted with him from what I can remember. Anyways, being autistic does not excuse you from crossing clearly set boundaries by others, as I said. Anyways, thanks for reading. The guy wasn't like horrible, just annoying. I would say that he had delusions of grandeur because of the way that his parents coddled him, and also that he thinks he's entitled to do whatever he wants to do to people. Yep, those are my 2 qualifications. So while he does fit into the neckbeard box, I'm gonna call him a beard light. You know, I think he's just trying to do what the cool kids do and find his own way to be included. I mean, it's hard being autistic, dude. You don't necessarily know where the line is. And while that could be helped out a whole hell of a lot if he was like, I don't know, taking cues from other people. It's just hard to say, oh yeah, he's a totally terrible person. You know what I'm saying? So while this beard wasn't like the most egregious thing that we've ever seen, I do have to agree with OP's suggestion that he's definitely annoying. And he could get a lot worse if some boundaries aren't drawn for him in the very near future. He's quite obviously not listening to his peers, so yeah, his parents need to pull back on the reins just a little bit, lest we get a story that is a lot more tragic. It's not my problem, it's our problem.
We're gonna become
communists.
no more food.
The night I met a legbeard. Did you bang a legbeard, bro? That's a reference to the Stealth Beard video. I think the very first one. You bang a legbeard, bro? Just tell me about it, bro. Anyways, hello, ReddX. Hi, Viking King 3000. I found your channel through my sister and her husband. Oh, that's right, you guys. You should make ReddX a family affair. This is very family-friendly content that we're doing here. I assume y'all are grown, so that's cool. Shouts out to them for shouting me out to their relatives. That's the big brain play. I've been a fan of these Reddit stories for a while, and I just realized that I have a legbeard story. Oh, God. So one night, my family was going to my brother's apartment for nachos and karaoke. Seems oddly specific, but all right. As we're walking into the building, I passed by the legbeard in question. I had never seen her before, but she winked at me. Well, she attempted to wink at me. It was like a crazy over-the-top face twitch. Yeah, that's how they do it in the animes. That's like the kawaii come hither wink. You just twitch your face really hard. I will not give a description because it's not important. Bro, hold up, pause, wait. Kinda is though. Come on, fill me with that cringe. Not that like looks are everything or anything like that, but sometimes it can really add to the cringe factor, and that's what we're all here for, isn't it? But anyways, she wasn't really my type. I'm not really the most handsome guy myself. What is important is I'm socially awkward. A weirdo who had to fend off a stranger who, as it turned out, was married, but I'm getting ahead of myself. As it turns out, Legbeard was sister-in-law's friend. Birds of a feather. So as I'm talking to my brother's stepson, she walks up and interrupts very rudely, not trying to join the conversation, but trying to end the conversation. I was annoyed, but tried not to be rude in return. Yeah, hey, two people that I don't know, can I come up and steer the ship? I see you guys are talking about something that I'm personally not interested in, so can I just crap all over that? No, please leave me alone. But you know, you gotta fit into the social conventions and try and play nicey nice. But Legbeard walks up and she says,
Hey, are you my brother?
oh my god, she's British too. OP. I guess so. I tried to go back to my conversation, but she insisted on not letting me talk. This became a theme. If I wanted to sit, no, instead I needed to go dance with her. If I wanted to talk to someone, I needed to talk to her. At one point, I hid in the bathroom just to get some peace. The bathroom is a really good hiding place, isn't it? And then when you come out, if she tries to talk to you again, you can just insist on talking about your stool. Like, I got a picture on my phone. You want to see? It's huge. I had tried to be nice, but I was tired. The straw that broke the camel's back came when I was trying to sit on the couch, and she started to get uncomfortably close. I moved away as if to say, I'm not interested in that, but she moves even closer. Legbeard.
Viking King, what makes you happy?
OP. Personal space. Good answer. I move away again. She gets annoyed and moves closer again. Legbeard.
No, what makes you happy?
I understood the question, you lunk. OP. Look, I'm socially awkward and I'm not comfortable with you getting so close. She hangs her head.
Okay, I'm sorry.
She gets up and goes over to my sister-in-law and tells her that she wants to leave. Now, if that was where the story ended, I probably wouldn't be sharing this, but sometimes life likes to play a little game called Screw You, Viking King. Yeah, me and life haven't played that game in a little while. It's not one of my favorites. She comes back this time with a man. A skinny Hispanic man with a look in his eye that says, I've seen too much crap and I'm done. We just create space and spend time with my family, but Then it happened. The reason that I'm posting this. She comes over and insists that
I meet someone!
Legbeard.
Viking King, this is my husband! Husband, this is Viking King!
In my head, I'm wondering what kind of family drama this woman is trying to drag me into. OP, hi, nice to meet you. Husband, what's up, Holmes? Legbeard.
Viking King, we really need to stop doing this!
At this point, I was just done being nice. OP, I'm not doing anything. I came to my brother's home to spend some time with my family, and you refuse to leave me alone. I tried to be nice, but some people make it really hard to be nice. I walked away and refused to talk to her for the rest of the night. Not the most dramatic story, but it's only now that it is set in that I had half of my night interrupted because a Legbeard was trying to make her husband jealous, and that annoys me more than anything. That is a really weird play. She just desperately wants two men to fight over her. But the husband seems pretty chill. Granted, he only said one word, but he's invited to the cookout. Unfortunately, for some reason, unbeknownst to me and possibly even himself, he has attached himself to Legbeard, who, yes, despite the extreme lack of descriptors, I do have to call a Legbeard. She got that sense of entitlement, she got that delusion of grandeur, just a sprinkling of predatory behavior. That is Legbeard fare if I've ever seen it. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't have given this woman the time of day, especially with the way that you're introduced. Ugh, that is the worst foot to start off on. You come over here interrupting my conversation and then just follow me around like a lost puppy all night. Go take a flying leap. I got time. OP being socially awkward or not, be damned. She's the one who made this socially awkward, so good. I'm glad she got told off. Hopefully some of those words, a little bit of that wisdom will manage to trickle its way down through her extremely thick skull, but I do have my doubts. Anyways, we got one other Legbeard story to get through today, so let's jump into that, and then I get out of here. Legbeard Sociology professor wants to deball all men. Yeah, we've been here once before. I do recall. Warning, some not safe for work, obviously. You guys remember Nadia, the castration beard? Yeah, this is like that, except instead of being a student at a college, she's a teacher at the college, which pretty much makes it far worse. But I guess we'll see what our higher institutions of learning are teaching people these days. Oh, God. Hi again, folks. It's me, Frecklehead451, with another community college neckbeard story. Although this story is about a Legbeard sociology professor and the antics that she pulled in our sociology class. But first, let's meet the players. OP. Well, you've met me already. Let me interject there and say no, that I haven't, but it is lovely to meet you. My name is Brandon Dayton. People sometimes call me ReddX or Red on the internet. I'm a dog person. I enjoy punk rock and long walks on the beach. I'm also quite known for reading stories out of order, particularly if they have Legbeard in the title. I can't help myself but jump on it. But yes, we will probably get to Frecklehead's community college neckbeards posts at some point in the future. Anywho, at the time I was 18 years old and going to college. I had red hair and a stocky frame. At the time, I'd also recently started wearing glasses because I have crappy eyesight. Feminancy, our sociology professor Legbeard. She's in her early 50s at least, smokes like a factory, and often rants to us students about her personal life while not letting us ask questions about the actual material. Oh boy, you gotta pay for this? Mom, my mom, one of the greatest people I've ever known and my greatest supporter throughout my college journey. She is the main source of advice in this story, and all the others, as I spill the tea to her about everything that happened at school. Oh, spill the tea? Maybe he's not paying for college. Maybe he's British. Maybe we get to do the British Legbeard again. I think it is just the new Legbeard voice now. It seems to vibe with people for some reason. Like I said, the channel has a life of its own. I'm just here to guide it somewhat. But indeed, here is our story. This took place a semester after the incident with Mythbeard, a story that can be found here, not yet, in an intro-level sociology course. I have no idea what I was getting into with this class, but I soon saw a demonstration of why one should never bring their personal problems to work with them. Maybe if I just go into work and tell my students about all my life problems, they can fix them. That's just like the people that post their life problems on Reddit, isn't it? Oops, I better not talk about that. I'm gonna run out of content. Get over our relationship advice. They're like, I want to divorce my husband. Okay, bitch, we'll do it. You don't need my permission. I'm full of it, man. I think I'm finally waking up. Our professor, Feminancy, the name will make sense soon, was a nice lady. At least at first. She didn't look like your typical Legbeard either. More like a sexually frustrated librarian. That's cool. With a penchant for smoking more than could possibly be healthy. She had limp blonde hair that she tried to keep in a fluffy ponytail, watery bluish-green eyes that constantly squinted at the projector behind those narrow little glasses with the chain, and a skinny body that was constantly wearing floral print dresses, a white cardigan, it was close to summer by then, and a sensible pair of wedge sandals. See, now that is a thorough description. It doesn't have to be anything bad. I bet 20, 30 years ago, Feminancy was just, quite a sight to behold. Of course, now she's pushing 50 and prospects are kind of dwindling, but she's gonna make that her students' problems. It's not my problem, it's our problem. So yeah, a pretty harmless looking older lady. And when I say older, I mean in her mid-50s, because to someone who had only been 18 for several months, mid-50s is pretty old. Hey man, I'm like over halfway there, so I don't know how to feel about that. As I was saying, Feminancy was fine at first. She engaged us with interesting material, such as a documentary about the Stanford prison experiment, which is a great thing to read about if you haven't yet. And she was available to answer questions about the textbook and such, since we had access to it online, and often had trouble with the website for it. Online textbook, I bet you're still paying a couple $100 for it though, right? God damn! The greatest scam ever conceived. But I get off topic. However, about a month in, things started getting hairy. I hope you don't mean that literally. Feminancy came into class one day dreadfully upset and basically refused to teach us anything. And when we asked what was going on, she informed us that
her husband had left her last night for another man.
Was her husband the skinny Mexican and they ran off with Viking beard? All these stories are interconnected. What a tangled web we weave. Whoa! Having gotten telling glimpses of her style of marriage and parenting, my classmates and I were not entirely sympathetic. She'd never brought it into the classroom before, so none of us bothered about it that much. She was probably just upset. However, after that day, she came in nearly every class period. The class ran on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and she would complain about how
her husband either refused to divorce her or refused to give her any financial support.
She was making quite enough to live on teaching, and most of her children were grown and had left to start families of their own, so none of us were quite sure what her problem was. I ain't a lawyer. I would sign the paper just to get her out of my life and stuff like that, but then maybe that does come with alimony or something like that, depending on how much the dude is making. Dudes get pretty screwed during divorce proceedings. Thankfully, there's no divorce in the Philippines. Bet you didn't know that. If you didn't know, you know now. So wifey and I are together forever. The government's like, oh, you got marital problems? work it out. We don't care. After a few weeks of complaining about her confused husband, I apologize to my LGBTQ plus readers. Nobody should be referring to you as confused in any way if you aren't actually confused. Feminancy came in one day in a delirious state of joy. Turns out her husband saw the error of his ways and left his side piece for good. And we thought, great, now maybe she'll stop making us listen to her soap opera of a life and actually teach us some freaking sociology. Nope. I know you probably didn't realize this at 18, OP, but a broken marriage generally stays pretty broken. You don't fix it by just walking back in and going, everything's okay now. You gotta put in some serious work if you actually want to fix it, which ain't gonna happen over a day or a week or a month. It takes years. Anyways, the next week, of course, it was back to, my husband wants to get a divorce so we can marry his side piece. She never referred to her husband's boyfriend by any other name, just side piece. Like a bucket at KFC, boy. She also tried to convince us that she was doing the right thing by refusing to grant the divorce because her husband was just completely confused in what he truly wanted and needed a strong, independent woman to show him the way. Strong, independent woman that apparently does need a man. Truth is, you don't need no man. You can go out there and get it yourself. But it is nice to have somebody by your side. If that person actually wants to be by your side. If they don't, then holding them there is gonna do nothing. Ugh. Her next remarks scarred me for life. I paraphrased due to, I can't feckin' remember. If I had any political say, I would pass a law that requires every man in the country to be castrated and only allowed to perform menial labor. Women are much more equipped for political and business ventures than men, so they should be able to take all the positions of power. Jesus Christ. Wow. In front of a class of students. Wow is all I can really say. At least they're smart enough to not like absorb any of that. They're like, that sounds crazy. Which it absolutely is. Needless to say, we were stunned. Bear in mind, half of the class consisted of dudes, most of whom were freshmen, and I'm sure some of them had to seek therapy over being told that they ought to be deprived of their manhood and any sense of dignity. Oh, see, that's why they were shocked, because they're freshmen. If they're like upperclassmen or something, then they've already had this message beaten into their brain and they'll sit there and self-flagellate. At least that's what I think about college. I've never been to college. I'm just spitballing here. I see nothing but horror stories, so my view is a little bit skewed. And the last time I went college bashing, I had some people telling me that, actually college is pretty cool, depending on which one you go to. So do realize that this is all in fun. It's just jokes. I don't actually know anything. Oh, but Neckbeard goes on. That's why I voted for Hillary, and anyone who didn't is a traitor to American values. You vote. Did she realize how little an amount of sense she was making? Lady basically said, no rights for Trump supporters. And anyways, that might just be me, but when I was growing up, you were never supposed to tell people who you voted for. Big no-no, very rude. See, I don't care who you voted for, honestly. I just laugh at the fact that you vote at all. If we could convince everybody to not vote, we would send a huge message to the government. But people have had their minds twisted, and the government's like, yeah, you could pick whoever you want between these two. That's ridiculous. I'm voting for Vermin Supreme. That guy's cool. So we ignored her little tirade until she finally cooled off and went back to talking about sexual orientation as a sociological concept. Surprise, surprise! She believes the LGBTQ plus community is unnatural and should be shut down. Ah, TERF, or trans-exclusionary radical feminist for the uninitiated. But things do go quiet for a couple of weeks, with her only occasionally bringing up her radical, feminist, National Socialist beliefs. See why the name makes sense now? Oh, Feminancy. Yeah, I see where you're going with that. Then came the day of the first test. She gave us several tests throughout the semester, besides midterms and finals, and I was one of the first ones to finish this particular one. For context, she was sitting at the desk in the front of the room, and I was sitting on the side of the room nearest the door. My vision isn't the greatest, so I have to sit certain places in the classroom in order to see the board clearly. Normally, this would be the back of the classroom, since my glasses prescription for nearsightedness grossly overcompensated. But Feminancy disallowed me from sitting back there since it was detrimental to class participation. You sit right up here while I tell you about my husband who wants to leave me. At least she's not making any notes on the board for that. Or is she? The point is, I couldn't see much of Feminancy was doing behind her desk while we took the test. As I was saying, I was one of the first ones to finish, and Feminancy said that we could leave after we turned it in. People were going by and placing their tests face down on her desk, and I did the same. However, Feminancy pointed out that I had neglected to put my name on all 6 pages of the test, so I had to get a pencil out and do it. Well, that might have been a mistake, depending how good your score was. Also, is she checking? I guess she's checking, because dude's placing them face down. She insisted on pencil, even though I always use pens, because pencils tend to smudge more for me since I'm left-handed. Anyway, I'd moved out of the way of some departing students, so that put me on the end of the desk, parallel with Feminancy. When I looked up to ask her something, I got a sheer eyeful of something that I will never forget. Sounds like this was a pretty unforgettable class. Feminancy was watching hardcore gay pornography on the school computer. Not even 6 feet away from her students. I saw everything, including the fact that this sexually frustrated, anti-gay, anti-Trump teacher had her hand up her skirt. It's research! Get out of here! I froze. I had seen too much, and she knew that I'd seen too much. I just told her, "Have a nice day," and left. Oh, that's such an awkward interaction. That's the kind of stuff I live for, man. She's gonna lay awake at night for years thinking about that moment. It will haunt her until her dying day. And that brings me so much joy for some reason. When I finally managed to process the whole thing, I did something that I usually never do. I called my mom in the middle of the school day to vent a little. "Mom, what's wrong?" My mom always assumed that if I called her way before it was time for her to pick me up, something had gone horribly wrong. "OP, Mom, I just saw something unbelievable. Seriously, you're not gonna believe this. I just caught my sociology professor watching porn." "Mom, what?" "OP, worse, she was watching it on the school computer." I decided not to tell her that the professor had also been masturbating, as she already sounded like she was about to pop a blood vessel in shock. "Mom, oh jeez, I'm sorry you had to see that, honey. Are you okay?" "OP, yeah, pretty much." It was just really shocking. I'll be fine though. I've got one more class to get through today, and it's my creative writing class, so I shouldn't get too traumatized. "Mom, if you say so, let me know when you want me to pick you up, okay?" "OP, I will." "Mom, oh shoot, I gotta go. Your dad's calling me. Talk to you later, okay? OP. Yeah, okay, Mom. Love you. Mom. Love you too. Talk to you later. OP. Bye. We went over it again as she picked me up from school several hours later, and she still could not believe it. Both my parents wanted me to report it, but I reminded them that A, no one was going to believe me since I was the only one who saw it, and nobody in that class actually talked to me enough outside the classroom for me to be justified in confiding in them, and B, I had made so many complaints about Mythbeard and other nasties in the past that I had been told to stop coming to the Dean of Students' office. That doesn't seem like good policy, man. Because I was just making too many problems for them. God, is that the laziest out ever? I'm sorry you're being harassed or uncomfortable, but you're just making a lot of problems. Can you stop coming? And then you go above his head. Make it the entire school district's problem at that point. So yeah, OP decided that they were just kind of stuck with that knowledge. She ended up failing me from the class, because I did end up skipping a whole bunch of classes just to be away from her. However, she did give me a much lower grade than I should have gotten based on the work that I did, as I still completed my reading and writing assignments for class even when I didn't show up. And that's the story of how I kept my feminazi homophobic sociology teacher watching hardcore gay porn on the school computer. Fun. Oh, that is fun. What a wild ride, man. There are some really good educators out there, and I think it's a shame that they are kind of overshadowed by creeps like this that are basically out there just scarring your kids. Pay to send your kids to college and have them scarred for life. What madness is this? She's obviously got a lot of misplaced rage, and obviously should not be molding young minds in any sort of way. Like, she can't even mold her own mind. I mean, tales like this are one of the big reasons that I decided, college probably just ain't for me. I got my, Montgomery GI Bill, but I'm just gonna go to trade school. That's fine. I refuse to spend 2 to 4 years subjected to this. What the hell even is this? Jesus. I don't know if I would have brought the information to my mom. Like, my mom and I are close, but I probably just would have repressed it, There's no sense in both of us being scarred for life. God damn. Maybe it was research at the end of the day. She's like, wants to see what this husband of hers is chasing after or something like that. I do always try to assume the best about people, but man, this woman is making it super hard.
Thank you for calling ReddX Industries. Your call is very important to us. Please hold on the line while we decontaminate the lab.